was just snoring to the point of losing breath. Like I would stop breathing. So you imagine you've got this animal, just this walrus sound. That's how it's just awful. It's bad. It's real. I'm on about real bad. It's like if I was single, there's no way I'll be able to be with anyone else. It was just like a walrus. And I'm saying it, and I know unfortunately it's like that for some of you guys, and possibly some of you girls as well. But what had happened is my airways were all blocked because of the kind of food I was eating, the weight and everything else. And I would lose breath. I wouldn't breathe for sometimes 30 seconds, 45 minutes. 45 minutes, I'd be dead. I wouldn't even be here. 45 seconds, everything. And I would actually literally wake up, not breathing, and just gasping for air and everything else. And my wife would be thinking, what's going on? She'd be scared for me all the time. She thought I was going to die. And it got to a point where she was saying stuff to me, and it didn't seem that much of a problem. I could deal with it. But it started happening more and more and more and more until it's like happening to me nearly every single day. So yesterday was a hard day. Literally everything I tried to do was, besides me going to the gym, was resistance. And I could have not gone to the gym. That could have been part of the parcel, but I made sure that wasn't the case. I mean, when I went to do my evening recording to sign out for the day, lighting was shot to bits. My camera, I've got it all calibrated, both my camera and my lights. It just took ages, and I'd finished up for the day. I just wanted to but I've done something. I've still done it, and that's how we need to be at the end of the day. I've got a lot of thoughts going on in my head, and it's always random, unfortunately. At the beginning of obviously setting up this channel, there's a lot of things that are going to be coming. There's a lot of things that I've said will be coming, and guaranteed, I promise you, it will do. It's inevitable because of the amount of recordings I'm doing, the amount of stuff I'm putting out as well, and maintaining that consistency. Just the same as when you go to the gym, it's inevitable. If you keep going consistently, there will be change. That's just kind of a signal in my head what I was going to talk to you about. So I'm going to come back to that in a moment. But with regards to do with just consistency, I know I've talked about it a lot, but it is such a major player, especially at this early point. No matter where you are, okay, within your cycle, and I'm not saying cycle because I take steroids or anything like that. Take that back. So, why do I mention some things sometimes that can just open up a whole, how can I put it, a whole barrel of fish? I think that's the saying. Because I'm actually going to be looking into that. I've been thinking and considering whether to find out about steroids, because there's so much talk about it on the net with regards to a lot of the so-called natural bodybuilders and people that have lost weight and everything else. And then there's this kind of storm brewing continuously, relentlessly, with regards to you take steroids now, he takes steroids, she's on steroids, etc, etc. So I really want to look into that, and that's something I'm going to probably be doing in about the next, it'll definitely be before Christmas. I'll start looking into it, so I don't want to put a date or a time, but over the next, say, month, 2 months, etc, etc, I will start looking into that and then feeding back my findings and so forth with regards to doing that, because I know, because of the demographics of YouTube, there's going to be people that are young, old, middle-aged, male, female, those who are progressive within their weight loss right now and their diet plans, those who are falling off the wagon and trying to get back on and trying to look at a new way of doing things, or trying to bring something else alongside with what they're doing right now. And obviously you guys and girls that are starting completely from afresh, or who have left the game for several years. And this will be a thing that unfortunately comes to many of us, especially, I can't say especially, as a man I've considered it, and it's came into my thinking a lot of times. And obviously I hear one school of thought saying it's great for this, another school of thought saying it's negative for that, and I think sometimes it's good just to go in with an open mind and see what the situation is. And it's not nothing I'm going to do now, no matter what the result is with my findings, but I want to find out the information first and just get it out there to you guys. So I know there's people who know a lot more than me, I know there's people out there who know a lot more than you, and then there's a lot of people that are preaching from a hymn book that sometimes is more pointed towards one way or the other, and sometimes it's good for to find someone or to find several people that have got a lot of information in regards to it, and it all kind of aligns and goes straight to bringing common knowledge and affirmation of what one another's findings are with regards to those voices. I have discovered that with regards to do a diet plan that works, that's consistent, and that's life changing. And I will be bringing that shortly in the near future. All I'm wanting to do right now is focus on getting the videos out, building up consistency with regards to the message of getting started, building up consistency in regards to enabling people who are following me or wanting to kind of just see and touch base with myself with regards to what's happening, that it's not going to be easy. The thing that makes things easy and makes it possible is getting started. That's why the name of the site is just go get started already. Just go do it already. And that's the reason for this. At the end of the day, it's to motivate you to stop being in a place of perpetual kind of like I'm losing all the words. It's amazing. I think of so many things, and when you come in front of the camera, it's like, because you've got the lights glaring in your face and in your eyes and so many different things, you're thinking, oh yeah, I could talk about this, I could talk about that, but you kind of lose track, unfortunately, a lot of the time, unless I'm scripted. And if I'm scripted, I don't think I'm going to be natural. And if I'm not natural, I'm going to fall into the pool of a lot of other people, YouTubers, that kind of put out a message that a lot of the time you can't live. It can't be lived because it's not being lived. It's being kind of articulated, but not spoken with sincerity. And that's what I'm trying to do. When it comes to breaking down knowledge and information that I've gained, I will have to change it slightly, because I don't want to just throw knowledge out there and just have it all misrepresent some stuff to do with dieting or to do with how you should train, etc, etc. Like I said, I'm not going to tell you exactly what to do. I'm going to tell you what I've been doing, what I've tried, and what has worked and what hasn't worked, and why I'm keeping with certain things or changing it now at this stage within my journey, etc, etc. But you don't want to be, getting back to what I say, you don't want to be into a perpetual place of just not doing anything, of just forever. I just can't remember the words, so maybe I might put it on the screen somewhere if I can remember when it comes to editing everything and putting it together. But you don't want to be in that place where you're just not moving, or you're starting, stopping, and it's in my brain now, I can't even get rid of it, it's just stuck there. I just want it gone. But basically, it's like, what I do, one of the things I do is I weigh myself every single day. I used to weigh myself once a week, or every kind of now and then, or over a period of time. What I found is I began to find, and this is really good food for thought. Let's see what our time is going here. It's going well, but the battery life is low on the camera. Okay. Yeah, so what I found is weighing myself daily is helpful for me at the stage where I'm at right now. Okay? And because I'm in a place of perpetually losing weight, I'm going forward. I've got massive momentum behind me now. When you're first starting off, would I do it or wouldn't I do it? There's two schools of thought. If you're definitely going to make this happen and you've made up your mind, you're going forward, whatever happens, do or die in a sense. And I only mean that figuratively. Then I would do it, and I explain why. You'll get to, you doing it begins to show you what is impacting your weight loss. It could be drinking more fluids. It could be having smaller portions. It could be a case of you sleeping longer or sleeping less. So sleep deprivation might be causing erratic weight movement. Your bowel movement as well, with regards to do with how regular that is and everything else. Because as you start changing your meal plan, hopefully you'll get to a stage that if you are someone that is a regular on the toilet, as you begin to change your diet plan and everything else, that will become more regular. As you begin to consume purer fluids, as we'll go into it. And I don't mean trying to purify absolutely everything, but that is the end case, I'm not going to lie. But we're going to get you on the motion. Because what happened is, for the first nine months, I cut out a whole load of things that I understood and what I knew. And then the following 9 months, I began to I got re-educated. I began to look into things. I took the things that I knew and started to judge them and test them, because my weight loss was working, but it was very slow. And I was looking at what I was doing in the gym and what I was eating, and that's what like I said to you in one of the first videos that came on a couple of days back. Would have been just a case of, I've gone to the gym and I've seen people who I saw years back and they still look the same. I don't know how and why you would want to do that. The benefit is, yes, you're still moving, you're still moving in motion. You're not motionless, but everything else is it's just static, and that's not good for the mind. And that's almost a false. It's a false picture of what's going on within yourself and what's going on within your life. And you have to kind of be in a place where you're collating the data. So coming back to doing the scales and everything else, that's the first point of data that usually starts you off. That in the mirror and your clothes. Those kind of elements of things in regards to do with physicality. Then you've got the mental picture in regards to how you look at yourself, perceive yourself, the voices that go on in your mind and the voices that you hear. And obviously the third point of that is how you physically feel. And how I felt, I was having chest pains. My limbs, my knees were aching all the time. My neck was aching. I was sleeping and my neck would be aching. I'd be just feeling smashed and broken and felt like I was older than what I was. And my snoring, it was terrible. I mean, it was really bad. So if you want to listen to more, I'm going to break this down into two because we've come quite far. Just press the subscribe and like button. Please just move on to part 2 of this conversation. And we'll be telling you a little bit more of the ailments I had and why I think weighing yourself would be a good place to start on a regular basis. Yeah, so just following on, this is part 2 of the discussion in regards to do with not a plethora of things, just several things I was talking about. And one of those things is weighing yourself. And the reason why I'm a school of thought that it's good to do it on a regular basis. Sometimes people want to withhold that kind of data from you. And I had to come to a decision to make a reason why I was going to do it. And it made sense to me. Okay, so I'm going to carry on elaborating. So like I said, my snoring was awful. It was really bad. I mean, to the point where there was a name that I was given, I was diagnosed with. And that's the time when I went to see the doctor, both me and my wife, and was talking about our weight and especially myself and my snoring and everything else. Because what was happening is I was in a place of going into sleep deprivation because I was waking myself up in the middle of the night by my own snoring. My wife was living a nightmare. And basically I'd be snoring and she wished that she recorded me. She did record me a couple of times and played it back to me, but this is like not years back now, but like a year and a half, 2 years ago, before I just started the diet and everything else. Sorry, I want to correct that, not diet, my way of life. I just made a decision just to change and just bring consistency in it. Thank God I've been consistent ever since. But I was just snoring to the point of losing breath. Like I would stop breathing. So you imagine you've got this animal, just this walrus sound. That's how it was just awful. It was bad. It's real. I'm on about real bad. It's like if I was single, there's no way I'll be able to be with anyone else. It was just like a walrus. And I'm saying it, and I know unfortunately it's like that for some of you guys and possibly some of you girls as well. But what had happened is my airways were all blocked because of the kind of food I was eating, the weight and everything else. And I would lose breath. I wouldn't breathe for sometimes 30 seconds, 45 minutes. 45 minutes, I'll be dead. I wouldn't even be here. 45 seconds, everything. And I would actually literally wake up, not breathing, and just gasping for air and everything else. And my wife would be thinking, what's going on? She'd be scared for me all the time. She thought I was going to die. And it got to a point where she was saying stuff to me, and it didn't seem that much of a problem. I could deal with it. But it started happening more and more and more and more until it's like happening to me nearly every single day. And then I'd be sleeping and I would throw up food and then be just like it come in my mouth. I had to swallow it in the middle of my sleep and then be choking and go. It's disgusting. My whole body had just begun to just almost just rebel against what I'd been doing to it. And it's funny. I was talking to my wife yesterday about the stuff, how I used to eat, and when I show you what I was eating, where I was. Seriously, there was some serious food addiction, and I didn't know I knew it was bad, but you don't know how bad it is until I look back now. I was talking about it yesterday. I was just freaking, oh my God, it was real bad. When I show you what I was eating, I'm going to be putting it down into this computer program that I'm going to be telling you about to do this free website. Allows you to put in all your calories and everything else of what you're currently eating and everything else. And so I'm going to be putting in the stuff that I used to eat. And that's going to probably be in about the next 2 to 3 weeks, okay? Because right now it's just getting you guys to know who I am and, you know, etc, etc. But I can see the battery light flashing, so I'm going to have to stop and come back. Sorry about this. It's going to be part 3. Sorry about it. Alright, so I'm back. So sorry, excuse me for that. Luckily, I am quite organised with bits and pieces to do with tech, because I've been messing about with stuff like this for years on and off with all kind of stuff, and I know what can happen, unfortunately. But getting back to it, I was real bad. When I look at what I was eating, how I was sleeping, the things that were happening to me, how I was feeling, I mean, it was real. I felt like an old man. I'd be going up and down the stairs and my knees would be hurting. And the thing is, I've been at this place before my daughter was born, and this was like 7 years back. So I'd gone into a massive change then and lost a lot of weight, probably about 7.5, 8 years ago. I went through all of that. And then in between that, regressed on my weight. And then in between that, got my weight back down again to basically 120 kilograms, which I'm just looking to get beyond that. That seems to be always my stopping point, unfortunately. And like I said, it's a case of just getting yourself and looking at yourself in a way that can bring change. So I was in a real bad way, and I've been bad before, but it was really bad this time. And I mean, I really felt it. And I want to look at some of the videos. Me and my family went out and everything else, and the way I looked. Everything's the same, the posture, the way I do things, everything, but I'm like just ballooned. I'm just ballooned out. And I remember I used to be walking in the park with my wife and my daughter, and it'll be a case that I'll be just feeling my back just hurting, my legs hurting, everything else. And I'm a tall guy, and I never felt to that extent before, but I could say I felt like, so that was like when I was like 42, 41, 42. So like in my early 40s, I felt like I was 50 something, like 59, 60, and I hadn't been moving around. So all you 50s and 60-year-olds, I'm on about overweight or really unfit, and that's what I'm on about. I felt like a massive difference had hit my body, and something, bang. I just felt a massive difference. Everything was going wrong. Everything, the clothes, the way I felt, my sleeping, just to do with my confidence within myself. It just impeded every element of my life. So if that's the kind of place where you're at, I'm telling you right now, you need to keep coming and keep just following me. Some of the things you're going to agree with, some of them you're going to disagree with, but just listen to the story, because it's a reality. It's fact. It's not fiction. I shouldn't say story, but listen to the journey, should I say. It's relentless. This thing is relentless. And the reason why I've come on speaking as I have today is because I've gone and weighed myself. And what happens is, because I weigh myself every day, so getting back to the scales. And there's days where it just seems to be just working, and then sometimes you hit a wall. And I get frustrated. I still get frustrated now. Do you see what I'm saying? Because I just want to keep losing and losing. Not because it controls me. It's because I'm still obese. I know there's still further to go on the journey. I want to get to the other side of the journey. For once. Do you see what I'm saying? Where I was in my early 20s, I want to get lean and just begin to think, okay, now I'm going to look at basically shaping stuff up and everything else, which I'm working on right now anyway, and it is working. So don't get me wrong, I'm not just leaving it purely just to chance with that side of things. I had done that before in the past, and then have no energy, not energy, but have no strength and have no muscle formation. You have to work on the whole element, okay? And I know I keep going well, but it's one of those, you know, please forgive me, I'm like this sometimes, just hyped up and just let's get the information out now as it's flowing through my mind. But weighing yourself constantly, there's the pros and the cons, but overall I find it as a positive, because now how it is with my meal plan, if I take a little cheat, or I have a little bit too much excessive thing, or I take something out, or I have more fluids, it's almost like I can tell what has done something almost. Do you see what I'm saying? because I've become more and more focused on what I'm doing and what I'm consuming. Some people think that's wrong. How can that be wrong? If you're driving a car, okay, and then you're given a manual to how to use your car, or how you should deal with the upkeep of your lawnmower, or the upkeep of your computer or your MacBook, or the upkeep of your phone and everything else, and you're just throwing loads of apps on, or you're putting all different kind of oils in, or you're not cleaning your lawnmower afterwards, etc., etc., or you're just not getting your car just serviced in any shape or form, you just do it, you're just using it, what happens? It breaks down. Okay, I just want you to get this. It breaks down. Okay? And then what happens is when it breaks down, you have to take it somewhere. Even when you go to the GP, you have to take yourself to the GP. Or the doctors, or whatever, you know, however you call it in your place of demographic of where you live. You take yourself to the GP, to the doctors, and they ask you for data. They ask you information. They ask you to refer back to them. Is there anything that's changed? Is there anything, what's happened? When did this start? So why sit and wait and do that with your body? What? Because someone's been paid to do that. They've been paid to do it, and it's like anything. Not everyone loves and adores their work. Not everyone loves and adores their job. Okay, so you could be sitting down with someone who's had a bad day, or has a bad thought about things, or a bad thought about you, and you're sitting there and you're putting your life down in front of them, and then they're going to decide what they're going to tell you, and they could make a complete wrong decision. And this has happened to me in my life with smaller things to do with doctors and so forth, and I've had to take the time out to go and find out for myself. So doctors are great, and they are there, okay? And they're there to assist us, okay? And they're there to help us. But just like anyone who's there to assist and help, sometimes you can get it wrong. Or sometimes it's not the help that you're looking for. Or it's not the help that you need. Or sometimes they try to please you when they need to tell you things directly, okay? And what I want to do is tell you directly, you need to know what you're doing with yourself. You need to know what you're consuming. You need to know what is that thing you're eating. What is that thing you're drinking, and what is it doing to you? And you can't just sit back and just wait. That's what, you know, I've got so much stuff to feed back to do with my family in regards to how they've done that with themselves, with their own lives. And I'll be talking to them and explaining to them, you can't do that and everything else. And so many people are good like how I was with regards to explaining when you're in the high place. How about I let myself fall down? And it's a case of, I saw the detriment of just not doing things impact my own family life. Impact family members, as many of you have probably experienced or are experiencing right now. And it's soul destroying, but at the same time allow it to come back into my own life. We as a species can be sometimes so stupid. Seriously, so stupid. It's just like, I don't understand it. But I've been like that. Or we can be so laxed. Or we can find an excuse why not to, okay? But I put myself onto those scales on a daily basis to remind myself so I don't slip back anymore, because I used to look at it once a week, once every 2 weeks, or once a month after a cycle of particular training and eating and what I'm trying to do and everything else, to see how is it working. And I wasn't keeping on top of what I should be doing and why I should be doing it and educating myself. And that's what this whole initial kind of plethora of videos coming in when you're getting to know me, it's all about, you need to get educated. Okay, I'm going to help you where to go. Okay, but I'm going to just bombard you like this in the first instance to just tell you, you cannot. There's no way. If you set yourself a target, you're going to try and hit something. If you set yourself no target, you're going to hit nothing. Okay, it's better to be prepared than not prepared at all. But with that preparation, you can't just sit back and forever look to be getting prepared. You need to move forward and take those steps that you need to take to initiate what your plan and desire is. Okay? And so many of us are dreamers and so many of us are planners, but there's not enough doers in the world. And that's why when we see someone on YouTube, or we see a magazine or in the media or something about someone who's taking themselves from here to there, we sit and listen to them. And we're like this thinking, what is it? What is it? But there's so many fools, foolers and players out there who will tell you one thing that they've done and they haven't done it. And they've done something completely different, but they mask it. And that's all that kind of like smoke and mirrors kind of things. And that's what I'm talking about the players out there who are just doing things to do with steroids. Okay? And at the end of the day, I can't, if I'm going to go down that route, I have to find out about it. And when I say I'm on about you generally, anyone who's listening out there, but if you're going to go and start taking a particular pill, or you're going to start going to take a particular meal plan, find out about it. Don't just hear one person or two people go to their website, get almost kind of like brainwashed and think this is it, this is where I'm going. Because weight loss and what you consume is a big thing. A lot of the diet foods have got things that are so negative within your body. And I know that more often than not, a doctor can prescribe something to you, okay? And if you look on the bottle of pills or on the cream or on the lotion or whatever, it will tell you the things that it's supposed to do and the things that it will cause. Not the things that it can cause, the things that it will definitely cause, and then the things that it can cause on the side. And sometimes you got to think, is it worth me taking all this stuff to try and fix this, but it's going to start causing this blood pressure to come up, this thing to start bleeding inside me, this stuff to start going and letting off chemicals in, within unbalance within my thinking. Seriously, there's a natural way of doing things, okay? And at the end of the day, there's a plethora, there's so much information, and it's an industry. Weight loss is an industry. Exercising is an industry. The gym is an industry. And you have to look at all these things and consider how you're going into this. You're going to go into this blinded, okay? So just as a massive food for thought, all right? But what I want to end up with, because I can just carry on and on, is just the reasons why I look on the scales on a regular basis is it reminds me where I am and where I want to go. And if I'm slipping back, I'd rather find out sooner rather than later, okay? So I'm going to end on that note. So just keep on keeping on, and just remember, just go do it already. Okay? Speak to you soon. Take care. Bye.